Welcome to Andy's Chomping at the Bit. Welcome to Andy's Chomping at the Bit, presented by Big Andy Media, the official sponsor of Andy's Chomping at the Bit. So today's episode is going to be on meditation. And I was torn on what I was going to do it on this week. I was debating between meditation and grief. Recently, in both of the recovery communities I'm a part of, as far as geographically speaking, we had lost individuals to relapse, poor choices, permanently lost, not just momentarily while they struggled. So that was on my mind as a discussion. But I ended up going with meditation because it played a significant role this week in my life and helping me with self-care and managing a flood of different emotions. Because not everything was negative from this week. I mean, grief makes things tough, but there were so many positive that were going on as well. I had a good weekend. During the week, I had several positive moments as well. So it wasn't like I meditated simply for managing trauma. I was meditating because I had a lot going through my mind in all directions. And meditation is my primary way of reeling in the thoughts, reeling in how I actually feel, and organizing it and being able to process it in a healthy way. It helps me understand what's going on in my mind, which I feel is very important. And I know that I can lose track of that if I don't take the time to, whether it be reflect or simply meditate, which often goes hand in hand with that. And some of my main form of meditating, and this one I don't just do as a routine, this one I do whenever I feel that need, whenever I feel my mind is racing, whenever I feel stressed, if I feel any form of anxiety, I do something called box breathing. For me, it's a very simple form of meditation. It's one of the forms I do. And I do a 4-second box breathe. So what that is, I breathe in for 4 seconds. I hold my breath for 4 seconds, and then I breathe out for 4 seconds, and then I hold with no air for 4 seconds, and that's actually the hardest part. But you have to spend time thinking about your breath during that, and that's part of it because you're focusing on it. But at the same time, it's also regulating oxygen intake. It's helping control your heart rate. There's a lot of positives within it as far as the benefits of box breathing, meditation in general. But that's what I do frequently. It's my go-to to calm down. It doesn't matter if I am frustrated, which if I get caught doom scrolling on social media, that can very easily happen. The algorithm is designed to find things that you're passionate about, whether it be really you're for it or you're against it. It's all about viewer retention, and that's what they throw it at. I try my best to go against the grain on that, but I mean that's just how it's set up. So figuring out, when the thoughts get racing, because like I said, it's designed to that. It's designed to create passion and emotion for retention's sake. So I have to stop sometimes and literally do some box breathing, turn off, close the application. I'll be completely honest. If I did not have a career broadcasting or music for that situation that was heavily involved with social media, that heavily required a presence on social media, I would delete it at this point. That's a whole nother discussion. That could be a topic in itself, social media. Make a note of that. but because it creates the racing thoughts and sometimes anxiety and emotions that are going into the what if territory or reflecting too much on a negative past, right? So that's sort of a classic example where that box breathing comes in. But then there's additional meditation that I try to do. I won't lie, I've been a little inconsistent over the last month and a half, but this last week, about halfway through the week this week, I started doing it again because I realize I can feel the difference when I don't. The longer I don't, the more I feel it. But I do a meditation. It's usually not too long. It's about 15, 20-minute meditation, depending on the day. A minimum of 15. And it's a visualization meditation where some people have tranquil music. I don't, because music triggers memories for me. It triggers certain emotions. Even that tranquil sound, it triggers sometimes different thoughts. So I want to be completely out of that. And it's a visualization. So I go complete silence to the best of my ability, especially early on when I was starting meditation, because any little sound would distract me early on. It still does sometimes. And let me get on the record that I am by no means a meditation expert. I am pleased with where I'm at meditating, but it's something you don't have to be an expert to do. You can be a first timer. It takes a while to build up time and consistency. It takes a bit of practice to be able to sustain it without getting distracted, without your mind going elsewhere. And early on, it's easy to get frustrated when that happens. Really, it's not something to get frustrated over. When that happens, it's a matter of just once you're aware of it, go back to, the concentrating on what you're supposed to be concentrating on. But I do a visualization meditation every morning. It's kind of like the Happy Gilmore concept, go to your happy place. And so it's a place for me that's completely peaceful and tranquil. And it's been the same place ever since I started meditating. It's been consistent on this. There's certain aspects that have changed, that change with what's going on currently in my life, but it involves me. And then the location, I could literally, if I was there, I could stand at the exact location of this. But it's at a spot off of Pier Marquette Beach in Muskegon, in the water, not too deep in the water, only about halfway up my shins deep. And it's standing there with a ever so light breeze. Sun is starting to set. It's not all the way down. It's starting to set. And so essentially from where I am in that meditation, I'm standing and I am looking at the South Pier head, essentially, and at the same time, the sun going down. And so that's where it's a 15, 20 minutes. It's 15 to 20 minutes of me in that moment watching the sun go down and visualizing imagining the feel of that light breeze, the feel of the sand at the bottom of the lake on my feet, the water, the slight move of the waves on my shins, the sounds, seagulls, light chatter in the background. That's what I do every morning when I'm being consistent with my meditation. I do that. And I do the same thing every evening when I'm consistent with my meditation. It's hard to express how valuable that has been for me, especially in the evening. In the evening, that will allow me to sleep so much better when I take the time to do that. I also do a prayer in the morning and the evening, and that is significant for me also. And I'll go on and say that I don't know if that's, as far as if you're religious or not, you can make the argument that it's prayers being answered. You can also make the argument, if you're not religious or if you're agnostic or atheist, that it's just placebo. My philosophy on that is I don't care. The fact that it works, I am content. I'm very happy that it works. It helps me live my life to the best of my ability, and I am grateful for that. I appreciate that. Thankful would be the right word, not grateful. But meditation is also a huge part of it. And as far as religious sense, I've heard people argue that that's just a Buddhist thing, which I do appreciate a lot of the practices of Buddhism. I some of the meetings I attend are actually, some of the principles are tied within Buddhism. I attend a lot of different meetings for my recovery. I just like the variety. But it goes beyond just Buddhism. It doesn't go just on the basic spiritual sense. Like, even if you're Christian, you can still have the same, regardless of your religion, it still has value. Meditating, for me, when I take the longer meditations like that, it's not merely clearing my mind of the congestion, which it does. It also helps me listen. Not just to the outside, but it helps me listen to me. It helps me listen to what I am ignoring within myself. Helps me hear my struggles, I guess the subconscious side of things that I am too busy to listen to sometimes, too distracted to focus on or understand. It helps me find what I need to work on. It's an excellent tool for me in that sense. It gets me grounded, and I can see where my struggles are, where I can improve the most, where I should focus on improving the most. It's an amazing tool for me in that sense. And I can still get better at meditating, so hopefully the tool gets better as well. Another positive of it, especially in the morning, I'll say this. In the morning, it plays a huge factor on this side of it, is the tone for how I start my day, the positive energy, how I start my day. It starts with meditating, because when I can clear any congestion, any of those thoughts of, those worries of what's going on today, what's coming up, getting caught in the what if right when I wake up, meditating helps me remove that. At least to start, those things still pop up in the day. That's where there's box breathing, stuff like that. But it allows me to start out on a positive note, and it really helps me find and use that self-awareness within me that I've developed. It helps me continue developing and getting better at being self-aware. And I cannot stress to you how valuable building up that skill set is. Next week, I'll either be doing grief or self-awareness, because they're both, or I'll just do awareness in general, and self-awareness will be part of it. Because they're both significant. Right now, grief is more of a current thing, and it's not been too tough on me. It's been tough on a lot of my friends in the community, more because they were a lot closer to the individuals that passed away. But I'll probably address that just because it's more time sensitive as far as what's going on in my life. But I will address awareness at some point as well in the near future, because I think that's a topic that I'm surprised I didn't talk about it earlier. I've mentioned it within every topic pretty much, but it deserves its own time. Meditation has been one of those things I always thought would be a waste of time. And some people, you can do it in so many different ways. I've mentioned a couple. Another one, and this is one that I do when it's a healthy, I feel, response, or a healthy habit I've gotten into when I get really passionate on a subject, or if I'm starting to get angry about something, or if I'm struggling to talk about something, especially like when I'm talking about trauma, or any fears or worries. It's physical sensory as far as the meditation. I like to, with my fingers and my thumb, I tap my thumb on both hands. I do it on both hands usually. My thumb on my pointer finger, then to my middle finger, then to my ring finger, then to my pinky, then my pinky again, then to my ring finger, my middle finger, index finger, pointer finger, whatever you want to call it. I do that, and I just go back and forth like that during that moment, and it helps me. I'm not 100% sure how it works. I think it works in the same sense as far as grounding, keeping keeping the thoughts from racing, almost like a distraction to an extent, or focusing on something else to reduce racing thoughts. I don't completely have an answer on that. Like I said, I'm not an expert on meditation by any means. It's just something that I have practiced. There are people that are much, much more knowledgeable on the matter. Some people that professionally deal with it. I'm sure that pretty much most of your certified therapists and psychiatrists, and psychiatrists would have it too, even though that's not really their focus. Their focus is on more medication. But psychologists, there we go. They would have I would say they'd have a better understanding than I do, even as far as meditation and its benefits and how it works. But it's relatively simple as far as adding to your life. And I cannot stress how significant something like that is. Taking a little bit of time in the morning. You might not have 15 to 20 minutes in the morning. I mean, you can technically wake up a little earlier, but sometimes that's not realistic for everyone. But even if you just take 5 to 10 minutes, and you can set aside 5 minutes. Set down your phone for 5 minutes. Do it when you're drinking your cup of coffee. I don't know what your routine is usually, but that's something that you can do. 10 minutes. Even if it's simply focusing on breathing or focusing on the touch sensory, You don't have to necessarily do the finger thing. Sometimes it's simply putting your hands on a table and feeling, thinking about the feeling, the cold, the texture, things like that. It's beneficial. I'd recommend to everyone, to try it. Give it a fair chance to, give it, do it throughout the week, Monday through Friday. Just do it 1 week and see what happens. Don't expect miracles. I'll tell you that right now. You're going to get frustrated. I can tell you that also. Your mind's going to race here and there. It's going to be very hard originally to focus. It's a skill. Like anything else, you have to practice. You get better. But it's worth it. I feel it's worth it. Doing it is more important than, in my mind, than being perfect at it. No such thing as perfect to begin with. But doing it is more important than being really good at it. Getting in the habit of it. I hope this helps you. It helped me when I started. And when I'm consistent, it really helps me. And it's helped me get through this week. It's helped me manage the harder times. But it's also helped me take in and embrace the good within the week. There's been a lot of good. I've had a lot of good moments with friends. I've had a lot of good conversations with friends and family. It helps with all those things. And it helps me take things correctly too. Sometimes when I hear something, and I think everyone has this to some extent. I can't speak for anyone else other than myself. But it's possible sometimes for me when I hear something, or I don't hear something, to want to take it out of context. I don't know if that's human nature or what the extent is on that. Once again, I'm going to be honest. I'm not the expert. I'm going based on personal experience. And that's it right now. Sometimes when my thoughts race, sometimes I will take something out of context. And I can thankfully these days, I can give myself, I'll give myself a little bit of a pat on the back that I don't overreact to those things anymore. I've learned to step back. This is self-awareness again, to step back on those moments and go and remember things aren't built around me. The world doesn't revolve around me. Things don't always go the way I want them. And that's okay. That's reality. That's life. So when something happens, learning not to take it negative. Well, meditation has helped me with that aspect. It's helped me process those things. Helped me pause and go, there's other things going on in people's lives. Or, they probably didn't mean that the way you're thinking it's meant. And it doesn't always just go on the negative to positive. Sometimes something will go really good, and that simple grounding will go, okay, don't make too much out of that. And that's not a bad thing. That's just putting things in perspective. It's healthy, I feel. I mean, it's helped me a lot. And I have a lot to learn still on meditation. I'm not above learning. That's going to be a topic eventually here too. I can't stress that enough. What I know today might be obsolete a year from now. I was going to say obsolete. Might not be even close to where my understanding is a year from now. It's growing. It's going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to change. That's why I'm going to revisit some of these topics at some point, because my understanding changes, because through growth, I've learned that what I thought in some areas isn't necessarily true. What I thought was important in some areas isn't as important. And I neglected to notice some things in the past that are now things I can see, or that I will be able to see later on. It's a journey. It's a fun journey if you let it be fun. It's about outlook, really, on that. I can't stress that enough, how beneficial it has been for me, especially in moments of adversity. Good and bad moments of adversity. During change. That's the best way to put it. It's great for during change. But that's your episode for today for Andy's Chomping at the Bit. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I will see you again next Friday. Like I said, I'll be doing either the topic awareness, or I will be doing it on grief. Have a great rest of your day and great weekend. Take care.